Bill O'Reilly and Bernie Goldberg lashed out at liberal media yesterday in a totally misleading segment. So let's watch, and then I'll break it down for you.
It is widely perceived that the national media in America is overwhelmingly favorable to the Democratic Party. But here's something very interesting. Left-wing networks, both on TV and radio, have failed dismally. You may remember Air America Radio, which launched nationwide 2004, went bankrupt 6 years later, losing at least $40 million in the process, a disaster. Now we have the collapse of the ultra-liberal MSNBC network. On Tuesday, after Benjamin Netanyahu gave his speech, millions of Americans tuned into the news. But they did not tune into MSNBC. The ratings for them were catastrophic. At 8 p.m., the Factor had nearly 5 times as many viewers as a program on MSNBC. At 9 p.m., Megyn Kelly slaughtered her opposition 3-1. In February, the Fox News Channel was the #1 rated cable channel in the world in prime time, #1. MSNBC, on the other hand, declined an amazing 55% in the key primetime advertising age group and 28% overall from year to year. Total collapse of ratings that were never high to begin with. The question is why? Why are American liberals not watching their own? Joining us from Miami, the purveyor, BernardGoldberg.com, Mr. Goldberg. So do you know why?
I think I have at least a theory. I'll give you 3 reasons, but let me start out with this. In the last 6 presidential elections, going all the way back to 1992, the more liberal candidate won in 5 of the 6 popular votes. 5 of the 6 popular votes, the more liberal candidate won. Now, you would think that that would help liberals in the media, but it doesn't. As a matter of fact, if MSNBC or liberal talk radio were political candidates, they'd lose every election. Okay, I'll give you 3 possible reasons. The first one, I think, is the most important. Liberal news media violate the cardinal rule of all media. They're not entertaining. They're not entertaining. On primetime MSNBC, they lecture us. I already went to college. I sat through lectures. I didn't find them fun then. I don't want to hear some pedantic lecturer talking to me now.
Whereas Bill O'Reilly and the people on Fox News, they definitely don't lecture. They've never done that, ever. Come on, Bernie. I mean, what a silly thing to say. You have to know how silly that is. The only part where I'm going to give credit is MSNBC does struggle in the whole entertaining department. I mean, look at Joe Scarborough, Ronan Farrow. Chris Hayes is a really great guy and a really nice guy, and I'm sure I'd get along with him really well. And he's smart. He's really smart, but let's just say I don't watch him on a regular basis. So that's the only area where they have a point, but no, the answer as to why they don't do well on TV is very simple. Liberals actually don't watch TV to get their news, right? That's a part of this that's totally overlooked, whereas conservatives do. Conservatives do go to AM radio and TV to get their news. Liberals are actually reading newspapers, or they're going to this newfangled machine that we call the internet. Notice how Bill O'Reilly left that out as well from the beginning. He's like, liberal media outlets on TV and radio are doing poorly. That's true, but how about that third thing, the internet? How are liberals doing over there? And how are conservatives doing on the internet? There's another interesting question. Try doing a conservative show and posting it on YouTube and tell me how you do in that true free marketplace. Because that's what YouTube is. It's a free marketplace. It's as free as it gets out there, man. Tell me how you do if you post conservative content. I'd love to see. It would be a bloodbath. Dislike, 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 and only 17 views and 16 dislikes. And liberal radio failed because Clear Channel and conservative media bought up all the different stations and kicked the liberals off. I'm not kidding about that. Go talk to Mike Malloy about that. Go talk to Tom Hartman about that. It was an effort of the different conservative media outlets to buy up all the stations and kick all the liberals off. And Air America, when they were on air, their fatal flaw was that they bought like the third or fourth best signal in given markets. So they had the shittiest signal. And as far as how well their ratings were when you take into account their signal, it was the best with the shitty signal. But since it was a shitty signal, they gave themselves this arbitrary roof, so they should have never did that, but they did that. They made that mistake from the beginning. But the fact that Fox is bragging is comical because the average Fox viewer is 68.8 years old. That's just sad. And O'Reilly's average viewer age is 72 years old. 72! That's insane. The audience is literally dying off. And again, I need you to understand just how much that explains of this, right? How that's one of the main reasons why Fox has consistently been number one, is that they're preaching to an audience which is largely TV-centric, whereas liberals, they really are out living their lives, going to clubs, going to cafes, eating dinner out with their friends, going on vacations. They use the internet. This is where they get their information from, actual magazines and newspapers. Liberals don't live in that echo chamber nearly as much that the conservatives do. So that explains a large portion of it there. And also, let's not forget that Fox News, when it started, it was like 6 years or more until they made a profit. So they went into it drastic, bleeding money every year. So many of the conservative magazines and papers, they lose money every year, and that's fine. That's part of the way it works because they're not doing it to get an actual following. They're just doing it to pump out their propaganda. I mean, you have billionaires who own these various companies, and they don't care that they lose money in the process in many respects, which is why you had a situation where with Rupert Murdoch, he's like, fuck it, I'll lose for money for 6 years straight, and I don't care. And if it makes a profit down the road, it makes profit down the road, but I'm in this not even necessarily just for the money, but for the thing itself. And, you think, well, what if Air America had proper management and they bought the right stations and they stuck it out? Could it be something that down the road, maybe it would have worked out? But look, all that speculation, and that's not even necessary because, again, like I said, Bill, if you want to make comparisons, buddy, just wait, son, because the internet is a tidal wave that's coming for you, dude. I mean, he's looking out right now. He has beachfront property. He's looking out his window, and he sees how the beach has totally receded like 300 yards. He's like, why is there so much sand? Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to go out there and walk out in the sand. And then what happens when that happens? That's something that happens with tidal waves is tsunamis. You have the water go all the way out, and people go, they start playing out there, and then the fucking rushes in, and there's a tsunami, and it takes them out. That's what's happening right now, man. He's like, yeah, Fox News is great in the ratings. Nobody can compare with us when it comes to political talk. Liberal TV sucks. Liberal radio sucks. There's no progressive outlets that can hold a candle to us. Oh, my God, the internet.